is sparkling apple cider juice. But if you can all raise it in the air, I figured since we're Toastmasters, well, I'm already shaking, I wanted to make a toast to start off my speech. So first I'm going to make a toast to all my fellow Toastmasters and everyone who's been with me over the past 3 years, whether it's just this year, watching you progress as a co-president and then watching your speeches, especially Evan and Xenia just now, was very inspirational, and it makes me want to be a better speech maker as well. I'm just going to put it down because I'm shaking a bit. My second toast is to my friends who have not only come here tonight to support me in my very last speech, but have also supported me over the past 3 years when I'm running out of ideas of what to speak about, and I go to them and I rehearse with them, so I appreciate it a lot. Then the third person I wanted to toast to is Amica, because you were my mentor when I first came to Queen's Toastmasters, the first person I met when I walked into the room. So I really appreciate you for that. And then my mom, who is the whole reason I joined Toastmasters, because she's back in New York working on finishing her Toastmasters manual, and I joined here so I could help her as well. And then last but not least, I want to toast to the Tuck Shop, which is where I work. And the reason I'm going to toast to the Tuck Shop is because I work there about 6 hours a week, and that's where I do a lot of my speech writing, and I think about what I want to talk about. I sit there by myself in the shop. You all should come visit me because it gets really lonely. Come buy some candy, and I work on my speeches. So now we can all take a drink, and thank you for toasting with me.
Cheers.
And if you don't want to drink it, that's fine. And if you can, which I think all of you just finished it, don't finish it because we're going to need it later. Alright, so the theme of my speech. Everyone knows I talked about a multitude of different topics. I talked about my tattoo, Then You Fail. That was the first speech I ever made. I talked about my zebra obsession, which I'm pretty sure we're all well aware. I've got in the hands. Alright. We're all pretty much well aware that I love zebras. I've talked about Halloween. I've talked about a series of things. But tonight, I chose to talk about physical insecurities. So I'm going to start with an activity, and I want you all on your note card to write down one thing that you love about yourself. Right now.
A physical thing?
Sure, yeah, let's do that. A physical thing that you love about yourself. And I'll wait for the general consensus that we're done.
Should we use the whole card?
Yeah, if you want to make it as big as possible, use the whole card and write one thing that you love about yourself. And if it's tiny, that's fine too. It's really for yourselves. It's an activity. I'll get to the reasoning behind it. All right, raise your hand if you're not done. Okay, most people are done. Now, flip the card over. I want you to write one of your biggest physical insecurities. And this is just for you. You can hide it from your neighbors if you don't feel comfortable letting your neighbor read it. Just please write down, take some time to think about it, one thing that you really don't like about yourself. Everyone pretty much done? Still thinking? I'll give it a couple more seconds. Okay, my question for you now is which one was more challenging to write? What you love about yourself or what you find to be the biggest insecurity? Speak.
What I love
The second one.
The
Oh,
second.
okay, so raise your hand if it was more challenging to write what you love about yourself. Okay, and then everyone else is the opposite. So the point I'm trying to make is I totally agree. To find what you love about yourself has always been harder for me than to find all the flaws and all the insecurities I have. So the point of my speech tonight is to talk about that we don't focus enough on the positive. We focus so much more on the negative and the flaws and things we don't like about ourselves. So I'm going to share, which is really challenging for me, but I've decided to do it because it's my last speech, what my biggest physical insecurity is. And then I hope in that way I inspire you guys to reflect on what are your insecurities and hopefully erase them from your life and realize that all the energy you're spending wasting time thinking about them is just useless. So my biggest physical insecurity, I have two, is my skin and a scar that I have in the center of my chest. I promise I didn't wear a necklace to hide it because I am getting better at just letting everyone see it, but I just finished the outfit, so I wore it. But my skin and my scar, for the past 4 years of being at Queen's, my friends will know this well, that it's been a huge insecurity of mine, and I have wasted so much time worrying about those two things. And there have been days where I didn't go to the gym because I didn't want to be fully exposed without any makeup on. And there have been days where I couldn't get out of bed. Like, I would go to class, but I would keep my head down walking to class. There have been times where I've had to make a speech on days where I find my skin to just look awful. And I feel like it's impacted my speech because all I'm thinking about is you guys staring at my face and noticing the blemishes or whatever the hell I've got on there, when I doubt that that's what you really care about. You're probably listening to what I'm saying. So I just shared with you guys something that I've been extremely uncomfortable about over the past couple of years. I've been working really hard to get over it, and thank you. And I think that if we can all find, and you all have seemed to identify, the physical insecurities you have, but if you can take the time to realize that I doubt anyone else really knows that they exist. Most people don't even know that I have a scar in the center of my chest. Most people don't even know that I consider myself to have bad skin. So I think it's really important. Which brings me to another topic, which is TED Talks. Raise your hand if you like TED Talks. Most people know that I'm absolutely obsessed with TED Talks, and I also hope to have my own TED Talk one day. That is my biggest dream. So I bring up the TED Talks because Shane, I'm going to leave it at K because I can't pronounce his last name, but he's a spoken word poet, and he said something. I will send you guys the link. It's beautiful. It's called To the End for the Bullied and the Beautiful. Trevor's nodding. He's seen it. Yeah, it's fantastic. One line that I took away from it was that if you don't think you're beautiful, take a better look in the mirror. And I love it. I'm just going to leave it at that. I just think if we all just reflect on that quote, it's brilliant. The second thing I want to talk about is slam poetry and how much I love that as well, which I think most people know that about me. And the last slam poetry event I went to at the Artel, someone said, and I'll forever remember it, and I have a piece of artwork hanging above my bed that Amanda made saying, "We are all just beating hearts in the same room." We are all just beating hearts in the same room. Despite any of our differences, how we look, how we act, we're all just humans with beating hearts. And I think that's another thing really important to keep in mind. So I'm going to end by making another toast, which I feel like everyone's pretty much finished their drink. Is that the case? So I'm going to make another toast, and I want to challenge you all to destroy what destroys you. Because at the end of the day, we all have things that we're fighting, insecurities that we have, but I want you to walk away tonight, think about those things, really reflect and realize no one else really cares. At the end of the day, the kind of person you are, what you say, how you act is what people will remember. So I encourage you all to destroy what destroys you. Thank you.